The chandelier sparkled above like 1,000 captured stars. The marble floors reflected every ray of light, and the golden railings glistened as though they had been forged from the sun itself. In the middle of this palace-like mansion stood a girl in a simple, faded dress, her shoes worn at the edges, her hair tied back in the plainest way. Her name was Amal. She was the daughter of the maid. It was supposed to be just another day for her mother, scrubbing the endless staircases and polishing the billionaire's priceless furniture. But today, fate had a different plan. The master of the house, Sheikh Tariq Al-Hassan, an Arab billionaire known for his brilliance, arrogance, and unimaginable wealth, was in one of his moods. He enjoyed humiliating the poor, proving how much more powerful and intelligent he was. He stood in his grand hall, surrounded by men in suits, investors, and intellectuals, all eager to flatter him. With a smirk, he turned his attention to Amal, who had just brought water for her mother. "Do you think you're smart, little girl?" he sneered, his voice echoing in the vast room. Amal looked up at him, unafraid. Her eyes, dark and deep, held a quiet strength that made him pause for a moment. "I don't know," she replied softly. "But I love to learn." Laughter erupted across the hall. The wealthy men mocked her. A maid's daughter who loves to learn. What can she possibly know? Sheikh Tariq raised his hand to silence them. "All right then," he said, his lips curling into a cruel smile. "If you can solve this problem, I will give you $100 million. The hall went silent. He walked over to a table and wrote a complex mathematical riddle on a piece of paper. It was something scholars and professors often debated, a problem that had no easy solution. He was certain that a poor girl with no formal education would never be able to even read it. He handed the paper to Amal. The room waited for her to crumble under the weight of humiliation. Amal's past, the hidden struggle. What Sheikh Tariq and the men around him did not know was that Amal was not ordinary. She grew up watching her mother clean houses and sacrifice every dream just to give Amal a chance at education. Amal would secretly pick up discarded newspapers, old books, and broken pencils from the houses her mother worked in. She would read under dim light when others slept. Knowledge was her treasure, the only wealth she could gather in a world that had given her nothing. Her mother, despite exhaustion, would whisper, "Amal, education is the one gift no one can take from you. Learn, my daughter. One day it will save you." And Amal did. Every equation, every riddle, every story she found, she absorbed. She had no tutors, no private school, no fancy resources, just a burning curiosity and the determination to rise above the life she was born into. Back to the challenge. The men stared as Amal studied the paper. Her hands trembled slightly. Not out of fear, but from the weight of the opportunity. If she failed, she would be mocked forever. But if she succeeded, it could change everything. Minutes passed. Amal's lips moved silently as she scribbled on the margins. She ignored the laughter, the whispers, the billionaire's impatient smirk. Then, slowly, Amal lifted her head. Her eyes locked on Sheikh Tariq's. "This is the answer," she said firmly, and she placed the paper in his hand. The room fell into silence. Tariq read it. His face froze. The arrogant smirk vanished. His jaw tightened, then dropped open in shock. She had solved it. Perfectly. The billionaire's silence. For the first time in years, Sheikh Tariq was speechless. The men around him gasped. One of them whispered, "Impossible, how could she?" But Amal stood tall, her chin raised. She had nothing but her courage, and it was brighter than all the jewels in that mansion. Tariq looked at her again, as though seeing her for the first time. The maid's daughter had shattered his pride. "You solved it," he said slowly. "Yes," Amal replied. "Because intelligence is not about wealth, or power, or the family you are born into. It is about effort, perseverance, and believing you can rise above your circumstances." Her words stung the hearts of everyone in the room. Months passed, and Sarah's efforts paid off. She rose through the ranks, earning respect not just from Daniel, but from the entire company. Her ideas brought fresh innovation, her leadership inspired her team, and her kindness won hearts. Daniel often found himself admiring her strength. She wasn't just an employee, she was a fighter, a mother, a woman who refused to let life defeat her. And slowly, something unexpected blossomed between them. It wasn't dramatic or rushed. It began with simple conversations after work, laughter shared over coffee, and the unspoken bond of two people who understood the struggles of sacrifice. Daniel found himself drawn not just to Sarah, but to the warmth she brought into every room, and to the little boy who reminded him of his own childhood. Ethan, in turn, grew fond of Daniel, once even asking innocently, "Are you my dad now?" The question made them all laugh, but deep inside, it planted a seed of hope. But challenges never truly disappear. One day, a competitor tried to sabotage the company, leaking false stories to the press. The stress was immense, and Daniel was under pressure like never before. Investors doubted him, employees panicked, and the media attacked relentlessly. Sarah could have stayed silent, but instead, she stepped up. She worked late nights, studied the problem, and found evidence proving the competitor's deceit. Her courage and intelligence not only saved the company but also strengthened the bond between her and Daniel. After the crisis ended, Daniel looked at her differently, not just as an employee or a friend, but as a partner. One evening, after a long day, Daniel invited Sarah and Ethan to dinner at his home. The city lights sparkled outside as they sat around the table, laughing like a family. At one point, Ethan leaned against Sarah's shoulder and whispered, "Mommy, I like it here. It feels like home." Daniel's heart swelled. He realized in that moment that his wealth, his success, and his empire meant nothing compared to the chance to build a family with people who mattered. Months later, Sarah stood on a stage at the company's annual gala. She had just been promoted to director, her name now synonymous with resilience and strength. Ethan sat in the front row, clapping proudly, while Daniel stood beside her with a smile. She looked out at the audience and spoke from her heart. "I was once told I didn't belong here. That bringing my son to an interview made me unfit for this world. But I stand here today as proof that being a mother doesn't make you weak, it makes you unstoppable." To every single parent out there, don't give up. Your struggle is your strength, and your children are your greatest reason to rise. The room erupted in applause. Daniel's eyes glistened with pride as he whispered, "Your mother would be proud." By the end of the night, Sarah knew her life had changed forever. She had come to the company desperate for a job, and instead, she had found respect, love, and hope. And Ethan. He no longer looked at his mother with worry, but with admiration. To him, she was a hero. Message to viewers. Friends, if this story touched your heart, let it be a reminder that kindness and compassion can change lives. Sarah's journey shows us that rejection is never the end, it's just a step towards something greater. And Daniel's choice reminds us that when we use our power to lift others, we build more than companies, we build legacies. Backhand index pointing right. If you believe in second chances and the strength of single mothers, share this story with someone who needs encouragement. Speech balloon, tell me in the comments, what part of Sarah's journey inspired you the most? And don't forget, subscribe to my channel, Be Kind Always, for more powerful stories that remind us of the beauty of humanity. Together, let's spread kindness, one story at a time.